Hello everyone. Well, yes, it's that time again where I'm knelt before you, not to pray, but to open a box containing, yes, it's a vacuum cleaner. Well, I'm assuming it is. I'm hoping it is. There's something else here. I don't know what this is at the top. Could be some bags, maybe. Ah, yes. Here we go, and I think what the seller probably did was boxed it all up and then forgot to put the bags in, so I had to put them on the top. There's some genuine bags for this Hoover Sensotronic. These are the original type bags that would have been supplied when this machine was in the shops, this yellow colour, twin-skinned. So there's the outer paper layer and then there's a thinner layer. And they're reusable. Back in the day, you could reuse these. I can't open it, but anyway, it's a two-layered bag, which was better than the single-layered bags, but nowhere near as good as the sort of bags we have nowadays, made of the fleecy material, the multi-layered fleece. Okay. I saw this on eBay and thought, oh, that'll be popular. Loads of people are going to want that. Now, it's got issues, and it was sold as spares or repairs. I know it's not got the original floor head. So I was expecting there to be a bidding war on this. But surprisingly, I got this for £60-something. And I was willing to go up a lot more than that. My automatic bid was, I can't remember what it was, but it was considerably more than £60. So sometimes you pay more for an item than you really wanted to, and sometimes you pay less. It swings and roundabouts. Recently, well, yesterday, I won an auction. I did want the item, and I did put a very high bid, probably a couple of £100 higher than I bought it for, but it still was an awful lot of money for a vacuum. You'll see that at some point. But it was a vacuum that, you know, it's not the sort of thing that comes up every day. So anyway, I'll just have to cut out the champagne for a month. Well, it's been well packed, hasn't it? Nice packaging. Nice bubble wrap. So it's a Hoover Sensotronic System 30. So it would have been midway in the Sensotronic range. From the second generation Sensotronics, obviously the first generation was systems 1 to 5, and then they brought out systems 10 to 50. And there was a couple of generations of 10 to 50 before they completely changed the Sensotronics and brought out the systems 100 to 500. But they were a complete redesign. This is more of the classic design. So here we have the two metal extension ones, two-piece. They didn't have telescopic ones. And they're not in bad condition, nice clean and a bit of metal polish. They're intact. These rings at the end often broke. So that's one. And then this one actually has the parking bracket attached. And again, the ring at the bottom is intact, so that's good. Now this is the floor nozzle, which isn't genuine. I do have a contour nozzle that this should have. Yeah, I think this would have been supplied with some Hoover cleaners. It was never supplied with this. It would have been a contour, but there may be a way. I don't know if I can. I've got a contour nozzle, but it's a friction fit one. It's not the pip fitting. I'll keep my eye on eBay because I might find a contour nozzle. I do have one with another Sensotronic. I've got two more Sensotronics in various states of repair. Here is the power hose. Now I think this has, from my memory, this looks quite a bronzy colour. They weren't this colour when they were new. They were more silver. These are prone to the splitting and deteriorating, so you have to be very careful. So this is a power hose, and it's got 3 prongs. Now I'm not sure, we'll find out. This machine is system 30, and then the top model was total system 50, which was basically a system 30 with a power driven head. Earlier generations had the electrokinetic head, and the later generations had, in my opinion, the superior Turbo 300 head. This might still have a power takeoff socket, because I have a Turbo 300 head for my Sensotronic Total System 500, which doesn't work. Aha! Fantastic. This has got a power takeoff socket. Some of them did have a blanking piece, the remote handled cleaners. I can use my Turbo 300, so basically I can turn this system 30 into a total system 50, because as I said, that was the only difference between the two models, apart from the colour, was the additional Turbo 300 head, which I really liked. Now let's take off this. So there's no damage to the hose. Now the seller said, I think he sold it for sales or repair, said the motor sounds dodgy or there was something wrong. He said good suction works, but the motor doesn't sound too right. We'll soon find out what the motor sounds like. You can buy complete motors for this machine still for around £70. I probably will just buy a brand new motor rather than trying to fix it. Here's the remote hand grip. These cleaners were made in France, so you've got the on-off, variable speed. That's a little bit stiff. I've got some contact cleaner. I'll take the top off that and give it a good squirt and a clean inside. And you've got manual and automatic setting. There'll be two, if it works, 2 lights indicate what setting you have it on. So on manual, it means you can control the power using that slider. On auto, it works very like the auto settings on most vacuums. If the hose is restricted, if the airflow is restricted, the machine senses this and lowers the motor speed. If there's no restriction in suction, it keeps the motor speed high. You've also got a max button as well for an instant boost, and you've got your little release to release the tools or the extension wand. So that's in good condition. There's no splits or any signs of splitting. And this, to me, upside down I think it was, this to me is the epitome, absolute epitome of an 80s vacuum cleaner, because this has lights galore on it, which I love, and hopefully they all work, because I don't know if I'll be able to get any parts for this. There are many websites that sell parts, many big websites, and you might find parts still listed for these older cleaners, but when you come to try and order them, you'll find that they don't have them. It's happened to me a lot recently, and it is very, very annoying. But we will come to the stage where no parts will be available for most consumer goods. Everything will be disposable. Right. The System 30 I had, which was the previous model to this, was a slightly different blue. This has sort of got a greeny tinge to it. There's paint splatter on it, but nothing that can't be removed quite easily. Most of this is superficial. The bumper, again, it's got paint on, and it will have scratches on. Some nice plastic polish will just disguise that, like Back to Black might even do it, that you use on your car. Yes, so far with the condition of this, it is superficial. The main damage has occurred here, and that's a pretty common sight. That's where the lead is being pulled out constantly, and it's gouged into the plastic. I can live with that. That hasn't perished yet. There is a diffuser behind that panel, I've got some stuff that I can replace that with. I probably will. I will be taking this apart. Well, obviously if it needs a new motor, it will completely come apart. I'm hoping the motor is a case of just unplugging the old and fitting in the new one. I'm hoping it's going to be that simple. I've had them all apart in the past, these machines. In fact, when I bought brand new cleaners back in the day, I did used to open them up because I was interested in seeing, see, that's probably, I was interested in seeing how they worked and what was inside them. Right, let's have a bit of a closer look. This cleaner for me is from an era where it's hard to believe, but my collection obsession was at its height. I'm saying that's hard to believe because now I've got even more than I had back then, but anyway, this is a period of time from the 80s that I really liked about Hoover. They were still a good company, not as good as they were in the 60s and 70s, but still far better than they were sort of from the late 90s onwards. And obviously the company now is just not worth bothering with. Not worth bothering with. Now it's got the tool caddy. This tool isn't correct. It might be a Hoover one. It is a genuine Hoover tool, but that is not the correct tool. If you remember the video I made, what was that video? Oh, it was one of my vacuum of the month changeover. The 1st of July 2018, I put that video out, and Mr. Sam Watson from Becco 1987 sent me a tool tray for my Hoover Compact, which is also of a similar era to this. It had the correct all-purpose nozzle. That one isn't correct. I do have a correct one, but it's in the cream colour. The earlier tools in the first gen Sensotronics were cream, as were the hose and the tool tray. So that's not genuine. It does fit. I'm not even sure that it is a Hoover one, but I'm not sure if that's completely genuine. No, that isn't, because it would have been more rounded than that. And we've got quite a used crevice tool. I'm going to keep my eyes out for original tools. It's got an air freshener. Let me give it a sniff. Doesn't smell anything like it should. I think that's the Orchard Blossom fragrance. I've got plenty of those, so I can fit in there. So that was an addition from the second generation. The first generation Sensotronics didn't have an air freshener, so they just bolted that holder on to give them the air freshener feature. This isn't the correct bag slide either. It's too short. I do have one that will fit this, but it's doing the job. I've also sourced a new pre-motor filter, which I knew this cleaner would need, and I've got an original brand new one of those to fit. I do know how to take these apart. They're not that bad to take apart till you get, oh, it does smell rather strange, but I don't have much confidence in refurbing the motor. But since I've seen complete motors available on eBay, it's going to be the easiest thing for me to do. You can't, obviously you can't put the tool tray on without a bag fitted. You can put the tool tray cover back on without a bag fitted, but you'll have no suction. You'll lose a lot of the suction because it's not sealed. It's only sealed when the tool tray is in position. There's a seal all around here, so it won't go in because it stops you. There's this little lever here, so you need to locate the bag in first, push it forward, and there we go. Now it's sealed the suction in. But with this one, you don't have to turn the machine off to access the tools like you did with the later compacts, because the tool tray was in the actual bag compartment where the suction was. With this one, you can still use the machine and select the tool you require. Is there any date? Oh, there's a date wheels on this. This is pointing to 87 January 1987. So it's at least from 1987. It wouldn't be any earlier than that, obviously, because this part, it could be from 1988 or even 89. I think no, 89. The newer Sensotronics were introduced in 89, the boxy style, including the talking Sensotronic, which I wish I still had. Never mind. Let's quickly look at the underside. You've got swivel caster, 2 wheels. Thankfully, they're both intact. Let's see the serial number here. So it's Hoover model S3452. This is made in France in their Dijon factory. Trademarks of Hoover PLC, 50 Hertz, 1000 watts, 240 volts. And the serial is 7040140. So this is the control panel of the cleaner, featuring a foot operated cord rewind and a foot operated on off switch. But once you have the hose attached, obviously you can switch the machine on and off via the remote. All that does is turns power onto the machine. So if the cleaner isn't displaying any lights, the mains on light is in the middle there, so that will glow orange or sort of yellowy colour. So if you plug the machine in and that's not lit, you need to turn it on here. That will light, and then it means it's in standby, ready to be turned on. And here we can see the fabulous display, which I'm hoping and praying all works. So you have the sensor indicators. The red light basically is sort of a glorified bag full indicator. It indicates when there's a full bag, indicates when there's a blockage. It's supposed to indicate when you haven't got the correct setting as well. If you need to turn up the power, that light will go out. So basically when the machine's operating efficiently, you have the green light. And then these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 LEDs, they indicate the power setting from a low power with 1 light for your delicates, your curtains, a medium power for your upholstery, and then a higher power, of course, for your rugs and carpets, up to maximum for your hard floors. So this is where the hose fits into the cleaner and also connects up with the remote control. As you can see, there's the power takeoff socket, and this button here releases the hose, so it should just lock in place when I push it in. Nice firm lock. And now let's see how rough this motor sounds. That certainly could do with a bit of grease. Oh dear. Okay. Now it won't turn on at this stage. Let's plug it in. Right, no light is indicated on here, so it should remain off because it's off at the remote, I think. Right, everything's worked. It's come on as it should. We've got the red light. I'm not sure if the red light always indicated. It probably did. But you can also see it's got the amber light for the mains on. Okay, I'm going to switch it to manual. Start it in low power. I will retreat somewhat and we'll have a look if this is going to work. Well, that's an understatement. Well, the reason I'm saying that's an understatement is in the listing it says Hoover Sensotronic System 30 with remote control handle, complete with tools and bags as shown. It does turn on and run with good suction, however the motor sounds a little rough. Sold as untested for parts / refurbishment, no returns. A little rough. Well, I'm going to just turn it on again, and there was something wrong with the display because it was on minimum power and the display was showing more than minimum. Let's give it another go. I'm not going to run it for long. Something wrong with the remote as well. The motor, I can fix that, hopefully, just a motor swap, but then the remote is dodgy. I have got some other parts for my System 500. I think the remote was the same. I don't think I'll be able to get System 500 working. That was absolutely destroyed by the previous owner mucking about with the hose. I've tried buying complete hoses for it. I would even spend £200 for a hose, but they all seem to be obsolete. But that, yes, the motor can be fixed. This might hopefully just be a case of when it's stripped down, I'll spray some contact cleaner, clean all the gubbins, and it might work. But yeah, the on-off works, but it doesn't. The control panel doesn't work as it should. The motor speed doesn't work as it should. Hey, look, it was £60. It's a project for me. I'm not going to turn it on anymore. In fact, I better unplug it because, oh, that sounds very wrong, doesn't it? It's not so bad when it's on full power, but obviously I think if I was to run this for too long, I think it might start to catch fire. Anyway, it was sold as spares or repairs. It's not like I spent hundreds of pounds on this. I'm still pleased with it. These were never any good on these cleaners, the cord rewind. But again, that will benefit from greasing up. Poor old girl. Well, I might not get to you straight away, but you will certainly look and sound a lot better than you do now. All in all, though, I'm not too disappointed. I will get that motor ordered. I'll double check with the seller. The seller says that the motor is suitable for all compacts and Sensotronics. So I will email the seller and give him the model number and just double check, is it suitable for this model? If he says yes, I'll get the complete motor for this. And as I said, hopefully it's a case of just unclipping the connections on the old, slotting in the new. So that will fix the motor, and a clean of all the contacts inside the remote head, the remote handle, hopefully should sort this. So this is part one. I'm not sure when you'll see part two, but this is pre-refurb. So you know what it sounds like, you know what it looks like. This is one I do want to get fixed fairly soon. So I'm going on holiday shortly, so I'm going to order the motor. When I come back, he's still got two in stock. And I've got Sensotronic System 55 that also needs a lot of work doing to it. I haven't seen since I opened it. I don't know how long ago that was. But anyway, it's still a nice cleaner, and it's still, for me, what the 80s were all about. Flashy lights and machines that weighed a ton like this one. Very nice though. If you have any help or advice, please comment below, and stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe. If you've reached this stage and you don't subscribe, why not subscribe, and you'll see this and a lot more. And check out my other videos, hundreds and hundreds of different videos on my channel for you to watch if you like vacuum cleaners. So that's it from me and the Hoover Sensotronic System 30, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.